The night was dark and stormy as I drove alone on a desolate village road. The rain pounded relentlessly on my car, and the only sounds were the rhythmic swish of the windshield wipers and the occasional distant rumble of thunder. The dense fog clung to the road, creating an eerie atmosphere that sent shivers down my spine. As I navigated through the twists and turns, I saw a figure ahead, standing by the roadside. A hitchhiker, drenched and shivering, signaled for a ride. Against my better judgment, I pulled over to offer help. The hitchhiker's face was obscured by the hood of a tattered jacket, but I could sense a desperate urgency in their eyes. Without uttering a word, they climbed into the passenger seat, leaving a trail of water on the worn-out fabric. I tried to make small talk to ease the tension, asking where they were headed. The response was a mere whisper, barely audible over the storm. "Anywhere, just away from here." Unease settled in my stomach, but I continued driving, determined to be a good Samaritan. The hitchhiker sat in silence, staring blankly out of the window. The car's interior felt colder, and an inexplicable sense of dread crept over me. As we approached a dimly lit stretch of road, the hitchhiker's demeanor changed. Their gaze fixated on something unseen, and a low, guttural moan emanated from their throat. Panic set in as I realized I might have picked up more than just a weary traveler. I asked if everything was okay, but the hitchhiker remained unresponsive. Suddenly, their heads snapped toward me, revealing a ghastly face, pale and distorted, with hollow eyes that seemed to pierce through my soul. The air grew thick with an otherworldly presence, and a cold wind swept through the car, extinguishing the warmth. Fear paralyzed me as I struggled to maintain control of the vehicle. The hitchhiker's form flickered, and I glimpsed a spectral glow beneath the hood. It was then that I understood. I had invited a ghost into my car. Desperation clawed at me as I pressed harder on the gas pedal. The ghostly hitchhiker remained silent, but their malevolent aura intensified. The car's engine sputtered, and the headlights flickered, casting long, eerie shadows on the road. In the distance, I saw a dilapidated house shrouded in darkness. The hitchhiker pointed, a bony finger trembling in the dim light. I had no choice but to follow their guidance. As we approached, the atmosphere thickened and the air became almost suffocating. I pulled up in front of the decrepit house, the hitchhiker vanishing as suddenly as they had appeared. The storm raged on, but an unsettling calm settled over the abandoned property. I sat alone in the car, heart pounding, wondering if I had narrowly escaped a fate far worse than any storm. To this day, the memory of that ghostly hitchhiker haunts me, a chilling reminder that some encounters are better left unexplored on dark and stormy nights. The night was as black as coal, and I found myself alone on a desolate road, surrounded by nothing but the echoes of my car engine. I had taken a wrong turn, and now the only company I had was the silence that clung to the air. The dim glow of the headlights barely cut through the darkness, revealing a graveyard on the side of the road. As I approached the graveyard, an eerie feeling crawled up my spine. The tombstones stood like silent sentinels, each one a reminder of lives long gone. I tried to shake off the unease, telling myself it was just my imagination playing tricks. Suddenly, out of the corner of my eye, I saw a shadow flicker. It was a dark figure, moving alongside my car. I squinted, trying to make out details, but the darkness seemed to envelop it like a shroud. A shiver ran down my spine as I realized someone, or something, was keeping pace with me. The figure's movements were erratic, like a ghostly dance in the night. I couldn't shake the feeling that it was watching me, its unseen eyes fixed on my every move. I gripped the steering wheel tighter, my heart pounding in my chest. Then, without warning, the figure lunged toward my car. A gasp caught in my throat as I saw a pale face, twisted in anguish, pressed against the window. The sudden appearance and the ghastly visage sent a jolt of fear through me. The figure began knocking on the window, each thud resonating loudly in the confined space of my car. My breath caught in my chest as the knocking persisted. It was relentless, like a drum beat of doom. I could feel my hands trembling on the wheel as I desperately searched for a way out of this nightmare. The figure's face remained hidden in the shadows, but its intent was clear. It wanted in. Panic set in, and without thinking, I slammed my foot on the gas pedal. The car lurched forward, leaving the graveyard and the haunting figure behind. The knocking grew fainter, but the echoes lingered in my ears like a sinister melody. As I sped away, I dared to steal a glance in the rearview mirror. The graveyard disappeared into the distance, but the fear clung to me like a stubborn shadow. I couldn't shake the feeling that the figure was still there, lurking in the darkness, waiting for another unsuspecting soul to cross its path. The road stretched ahead, a seemingly endless path to escape the horrors I had encountered. The night was silent again, but the memory of the graveyard figure haunted my every thought. I vowed never to return, but the chilling echoes of that ghostly encounter stayed with me, a constant reminder that some terrors are better left undisturbed in the depths of the night. It was a quiet night, and I, an Uber driver looking for a fare, received a request from a dimly lit street corner. The pin on the map led me to a solitary figure standing alone, shrouded in darkness. I pulled up, and the passenger, a young woman with vacant eyes, entered the car. As we embarked on the journey, an unsettling silence filled the air. The woman's presence felt heavy, as if an unseen force lingered around her. I could sense something was off, but I dismissed it as nerves. People often act strange in the quiet of the night. She mumbled an address, barely audible, and we set off. The ride was eerily quiet, the only sounds being the hum of the engine and the distant echoes of the city. The woman stared blankly out of the window, her gaze fixed on some unseen horror. As we neared the destination, the atmosphere grew more oppressive. I stole glances at the rearview mirror, and that's when I saw her eyes. They were no longer vacant, but filled with an otherworldly malevolence. A shiver ran down my spine, but I kept my focus on the road, trying to ignore the unsettling feeling in the pit of my stomach. Upon reaching the address, the woman asked me to wait. She stepped out of the car and vanished into the shadows. I hesitated, debating whether to leave or stay. Curiosity got the better of me, and I waited, the seconds ticking away like ominous whispers. Suddenly, the car's interior was bathed in an eerie red glow. My breath caught as I saw the woman standing a few feet away, surrounded by flickering candles and symbols drawn on the pavement. The air grew thick with an otherworldly energy, and a sense of dread settled over me like a heavy fog. The woman began chanting in a language I couldn't comprehend. The words were guttural, unnatural, sending shivers down my spine. The car seemed to vibrate with an ominous energy, and I felt a cold sweat breaking out on my skin. At its climax, the woman's body convulsed, contorting in unnatural ways. Her eyes glowed with an unholy light, and a guttural voice echoed through the car, as if a legion of malevolent spirits spoke through her. Fear paralyzed me, rooted to my seat as the surreal scene unfolded. The ritual seemed to last an eternity, but finally, with a blood-curdling scream, the woman fell silent. The red glow faded, leaving only the dim glow of the city lights. As I cautiously stepped out of the car, I saw the woman standing a few feet away, but something had changed. Her form shifted, twisted, and in the blink of an eye, she transformed into a sleek black cat. The feline creature stared at me with piercing yellow eyes before disappearing into the night. I stood there, trembling and bewildered by the inexplicable horror I had just witnessed. The city sounds returned, but the echoes of the ritual lingered in the air. Fear seized me, and without a second thought, I sprinted back to my car, my heart pounding in my chest. The engine roared to life as I slammed the gas pedal, leaving that cursed place behind. I could still feel the weight of the supernatural encounter, but the only thing on my mind was putting as much distance as possible between me and the black cat that had once been the possessed passenger. The road stretched ahead, a path of escape from the nightmarish ritual that had unfolded in the quiet of the night.